For the average American earner, the math behind buying a home is officially broken. This chart shows the exact moment the market detached from reality. Right now, the median U.S. household brings in about $84,000 a year. But to comfortably buy the median-priced home, you need an income of $120,000. That leaves a $36,000 annual shortfall. $36,000 of phantom income required just to walk through the front door. The result is highly exclusionary. At current rates, only 1 in 7 American renters makes enough to buy a typical home. 6 out of every 7 are completely priced out. The connection between middle-class wages and housing costs has severed. This misalignment represents a structural shift in the American economy, rather than a temporary market fluctuation. The immense economic pressure underneath this housing market has been quietly tearing the foundation apart since the 1980s. This graph charts home price growth against income since 1980. Over that time frame, incomes grew by 373%, but home prices surged by 551%. Then the pandemic poured gasoline on it. Since 2020 alone, home prices have jumped 54% nationwide, against a mere 29% rise in wages, blowing out a 21-point gap in just a few years. Financial experts generally recommend a price-to-income ratio of no more than 2.6. Today, the national average sits at 5.08, nearly double the threshold of affordability. The basic math of the American dream no longer works. To understand why, we have to isolate the specific mechanical failures that brought us here. The first barrier is an acute payment shock driven by the collision of record-high home values and aggressive interest rate hikes. Here's the timeline for a monthly mortgage payment on the exact same median-priced house. In 2020, it cost you about $1,700 a month. Today, factoring in interest, taxes, and insurance, that identical home costs nearly $3,100 every 30 days. But to even get to that monthly payment, buyers must first clear the down payment hurdle. With extreme rent burdens and student loan debt eating away at disposable income, it now takes the average American 7 full years just to save up the cash to enter the market. In the 1980s, boomers bought first properties in their late 20s. Today, the median buyer is pushed to nearly 40. This double bind, impossible monthly costs, and an insurmountable cash barrier has stripped millennials and Gen Z of a decade of vital equity building. Even if buyers gather the cash and stomach the monthly payments, they face a literal problem. The actual physical houses do not exist. Looking at this chart of national inventory, the drop is stark. In 2019, the U.S. had 1.83 million existing homes for sale. Currently, we're sitting at just 1.29 million, leaving the market deeply starved for supply. And the homes that do exist aren't for the middle class. Since 2019, 60% of the listings affordable to a household earning $75,000 have vanished from the market entirely. The safety net is failing too. In the last decade, 7 million affordable rental units under $1,000 a month have been removed or converted to higher-tier pricing. The market is physically incapable of healing itself right now because the actual brick-and-mortar supply required to house the middle class has been systemically hollowed out. With buyer demand so suppressed, basic economics suggests prices should drop, but they haven't, because people who already own homes are firmly locked in place. Part of the trap dates back to a 1997 tax law. It created a capital gains exemption of up to $500,000 for married couples selling a home. But with average prices surging 225% since then, many homeowners' gains now far exceed that cap, meaning if they sell, they trigger a massive tax bill. Then there is the mortgage rate lock-in. Millions of homeowners secured sub-3% rates during the pandemic. Trading that old rate for today's 6.5% environment makes no financial sense. If an owner sold their house and bought an identical property at today's rates, their monthly payment would jump by $800. That moving penalty has frozen over 13 million homeowners in their current properties. Stagnant construction is only part of the problem. The tax code and current interest rate environment have created a financial environment that actively penalizes selling. This combination of soaring costs and frozen inventory blankets the entire country. From the heartland to the coasts, buyers have almost nowhere to hide. The pressure is most severe in California, where residents need to earn over $100,000 more than the median wage to buy comfortably, pushing the price-to-income ratio in cities like San Jose past 11. But even historically cheap markets are strained. Right now, 0 of the 50 largest cities in the United States meet the 2.6 ratio threshold for true housing affordability. The old strategy of driving an hour outside the city until you find a mortgage you can afford is dead. This crisis is now a universal American condition. While the consumer side of the market remains gridlocked, pressure on the institutional side is building toward a forced correction. In 2027, $1.26 trillion in commercial real estate debt is scheduled to mature. Because many commercial owners will be unable to refinance at current interest rates, the market is bracing for a significant wave of forced liquidations and distressed asset sales. As capital relocates, smart money targets secondary markets. Cities like Hartford, Rochester, and Buffalo offer accessible entry points with steady, sustainable price growth. This institutional pressure can translate into residential inventory through the accelerated conversion of vacant office space into housing and the liquidation of multifamily buildings at prices below their construction cost. The resulting systemic shock is expected to finally unfreeze the market, offering a rare entry point for those prepared to acquire these distressed assets. The exact math defining today's housing market is heavily stacked against the buyer, but economic cycles eventually turn. When this gridlock finally breaks, the buyers who understand the underlying macroeconomic data will be the ones positioned to step in and secure an asset. To make sure you're ready when that window opens, hit the subscribe button and watch our next video where we break down the specific U.S. cities that are actually getting cheaper heading into the rest of the year.